Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Timbuktoo MineTech Accelerator Program Info Session. We are excited to have each and every one of you join the call this afternoon, and we hope that we'll be able to answer any questions or any queries you might have around the program, even as you work towards your applications. For those of you that haven't yet started the application process, or for those of you that are wondering what happens after the application process, we'll be sure to provide you with enough information, even as you aim to participate in this program. My name is Mulema Kusemwa, and I am a Junior Entrepreneurship Associate at Mobile Hive, and I will be co-facilitating today's session. So I look forward to having that interaction with each and every one of you. Before we get into our presentation for today, just a rain check, we'd like to know who's on the call, which countries you are joining us from. So just feel free to head over to the chat section and just let us know where exactly you're joining us from. Is it Zambia? Is it outside of Zambia? We'd like to hear from you. So in under a few minutes, let's just do that. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. And if you're joining us on our other platforms, be it Facebook or YouTube, you could also do the same. So we have Max, who's joining us from Zambia. Welcome, Max. Anybody else? Feel free to share that. You don't have to raise your hand. You could just type in the chat. Just type in the chat. I've changed the settings in case you're having challenges commenting in the chat, so you could try again now. Just let us know where you're joining us from. So we have Ali, who's joining us from Niger. Okay, West Africa representing. We have Bambane, I hope I've pronounced your name right. Eswatini, okay. We have Malawi, Lilongwe, wonderful. We have DRC, we have Botswana, we have so many people from around Africa, which is lovely. We have Namibia representing, we have Kenya, we have Nigeria, we have SA. Amazing, 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 amazing. Okay, thank you for all of you that have joined so far, and we look forward to even those of us that will be joining a little later. So with that said, I will ask that we move on to our next slide, please. Okay, so the objective of our session today is, like I mentioned earlier, is to provide you with enough information, even as you apply for the program. And for those of you wondering what exactly this program has to offer, that information will also be provided to you. So stay glued to the session, and more information will be provided around the mission of the Timbuktoo Accelerator, as well as the activities that we have in store for you. Next slide, please. So our agenda this afternoon will be as follows. We've already had our welcoming remarks. So a colleague of mine is going to run us through the program overview, and then afterwards we'll have a representative from either UNDP or NISA to just give us some remarks as program partners. And then we'll also get to share some information about the role and the vision of UNDP on this program. And then thereafter, we'll have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions around the program that may have not been addressed as we carry out our presentation, you're free to ask those questions. And then we'll then also share some next steps and closing remarks, and that will be the end of our session. With that said, I will hand over to my colleague, Max, to take us through the next segment of our presentation. Over to you, Max.
Thank you, Mulemo. Much appreciated. I just want to know if I am audible. Am I coming through loud and clear?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. And I see Martha or people also posting in the chat. Thank you, guys. Very much appreciated. So for this session, we are not going to take too much of your time. It's really just to give you an overview and also to give you a chance to ask questions. So this is a sort of like standard procedure. Essentially, before you have any program of this sort, you always allow for people to ask questions and to get a bit of a feel for the program. If there are any worries, if there are any concerns or any sort of blind spots that you might have, we might be able to help you with that. Today, I don't think that our colleagues from the UNDP and NISEA will be joining us, but I can give you an overview of how they are involved in the program as well, because this is very much an initiative that is also spearheaded by these two institutions. But otherwise, thank you for joining us. It's very much appreciated. I know that you are busy people, so we are going to try to do this within a good time frame. Is my beautiful face on the... Yes, it is. Oh, you're so handsome. Okay, great. So let us continue. Don't take too much of your time, so we're going to give you an overview about this, the MineTech Hub, and especially the Accelerator program, which we are handling as Bongo Hive. So if you see a little mark from my colleagues, you can see the Bongo Hive icon. As I mentioned, this program is initiated by the UNDP. They're the ones who sort of visualized it and are providing the majority of the funding, or at least the starting funding. And the actual hub, the technical place, the building where this is housed in Zambia is at a place called NISEA, which is our National Institute for Scientific and Industrial Research. So the smart people, not like me or some of us. So as I mentioned, UNDP is supporting the initiative, supposed to foster socioeconomic growth within Africa's tech mining sector. This is one of, I believe, 9 different initiatives. So in Zambia, we have mining, but Rwanda should have health tech, South Africa should have the creative industries. And it's this huge effort where the idea is to pump $1 billion over a number of years into Africa, into the startup scene, to support all types of different entrepreneurs. And I believe the big target is to create not only a number of jobs, but essentially, again, like I think the chart, it should be $10 billion worth of business over the years, over like a 10-year time frame. So it's very ambitious. As we say, it's very ambitious, very hairy, but that's what we're here for. If we don't try, especially as Africans, then where does that leave us? So the focus for the MineTech program, so mining technologies, is we have a few different focus areas to guide you. And we're looking for innovations in data visualization, drone technology, the Internet of Things and sensor technology, then waste management and mineral processing. Now, of course, if you have something that lies outside of this sphere, you may still qualify. So if you haven't applied, you might as well try applying. You never know. I think it's always good to roll the dice and try your chances, because if you don't try, yeah, if you don't try, you don't get anything, right? So at least give it a shot and see where it goes. But these are really the things that are outstanding. If you are a startup focusing on anything to do with data, with drones, with the Internet of Things, waste management. So this could be like water waste, or just mining, processing waste, and then there's some tech way, some internet-like way that you have to deal with it. We are very much interested in you. And overall, what we're trying to do is we are trying to help startups within this space in Africa build capacity through mentorship, through partnerships. If you go through the program, I'll show you later. But the great idea, or the big idea, is also to have you get linked up to actual mining organizations, mining companies, associations, agencies, chambers of commerce, whatever it might be, anybody that could help you move a little bit forward, right? To give you that bit of push. That is the general idea and the general vision of this program. If you have any questions, you can hold on to them for the time being, because you will get your time for Q&A. But write them down somewhere, don't be shy. This is very much for you. So again, as mentioned, we're trying to promote innovation, cutting-edge solutions for mining challenges. We're trying to support startups like yourself, if you're interested, at different levels. We're essentially looking at both pre-seed and seed. So it's pretty wide, the venue, where you might be in your business journey. So again, don't be shy if you haven't applied. Of course, trying to enhance the capacity, as I was saying before. I just talked about collaborations and partnerships. Not only between the companies and these other organizations, these big organizations, but also between startups themselves, because your business might need something very, very particular. You never know what sort of linkages that you can build when you're part of a program like this. The people that you meet, the partnerships, the networks, the friendships you end up making, they might be able to drive you to the next level. And of course, not to forget, we're also talking about driving sustainability. It's a big thing in the world right now, ESGs, sustainable development goals, and it's also important, right? I can tell you in Osaka, we have one place, I think it was at one point in time, you'll have to forgive me if I'm wrong, but one of our cities, I believe it was Kabwe, they used to mine lead, and it was one of the most polluted places, top 5 in the world because of the mining, right? So we also want to encourage that this is a sector that can not only grow, but it can grow sustainably and be environmentally friendly. So program activities, this one you'll actually be interested in, as opposed to me just waffling. But this is just to give you an overview, because we need to be transparent with the program, of course. And right now we are in the recruitment phase. We are trying to find startups that could benefit from this, but that also qualify, that you are a serious founder, you have an idea, or you're already pushing something, you might have a bit of traction, which is, if you're that's awesome. And we're trying to select the best of any sort of the applicants. So we're looking at getting a minimum of 10 startups. The evaluation process is quite rigorous. Some of you may know, as just in terms of some of you may have already applied right a few weeks ago and you haven't gotten an answer yet. Sit tight, it's going to take a bit longer, just a few more weeks. We're really trying to give everybody a fair shake and actually look at your submissions in the right way. So after that, we will go and have a bootcamp. The bootcamp phase would then take these 10, and we'd try to increase your capacity a bit. We'd have sessions. We're bringing you to Zambia. You're going to meet each other. You're going to meet experts in the field. You're going to meet some mining companies. And we're going to go over what you really need to do to take your startup to the next level. So stuff like prototype development, business modeling, that's what we're going to handle. And of course, our partners at Nizir that I mentioned before, that is where we will be having the sessions. So hopefully I'll get to see some of you there. This is supposed to start at the beginning of April, end of March. Those are the timelines for recruitment and bootcamp. Right after that, we will then have an incubation and acceleration phase. Now here, it depends. We have to see how it goes. But this might be, it might be the 10 that go through. It might only be 5 that go through. At the very end, which I'll explain just now, we'll be looking for the 5 top startups, right? So this is it's a bit of a smaller program, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to give those of you that make it as much customized support as possible. And this is where this incubation and acceleration phase comes in. We're really trying to give you tailored support with coaching, mentoring, market access, and industry insights. So that means that you will actually get to have access to certain industry experts, business coaches, financial coaches is a big one. If you're like me, finances might scare you a bit. It can become very complicated, finance data, balance sheet, accounting. But I'm sure some of you have done bookkeeping, and anyway, you're probably better than I. So just supporting you as you're in this phase, as you're building out what you call either a prototype or your minimum viable product, really developing it and diving into it. This is going to happen over about an 8-week period, and these will be virtual. So at this point, you'll be at home, you'll be doing your thing, and it's overall the program is a bit intensive. A bit intensive? No, I would say it's rather intensive if you're also doing full-time work and trying to push your idea. But that's what's expected of you. I always tell people running a startup, like in my experience, also running my own startup, it's like taking a gun and shooting yourself in the foot willingly, right? That's how the first years are going to be. That's just the reality. It's never easy, but we don't do it because it's easy. We do it because we have a goal, you have a certain drive, you have ambitions, right? And we want to try foster those ambitions with programs like these. After incubation and acceleration, we will have a virtual sort of pitch day where we will all gather the top people. We'll try to bring in some investors as well and some other experts in the field that you get to converse with. But more importantly, you'll get to present your idea. You will get to present your business to these people. So this is an excellent opportunity to get feedback and to also, get eyes on what you're doing. And this is slated for July. From this, we can then also decide the top 5, the proper top 5. These are the people that will get the grant financing. And this is a non-equity grant, meaning that you do not, if you reach that position, we're looking at giving out $25,000 to the top 5. And this means you are not going to you don't need to give away any part of your business. It's just money that's given to you for your operations, for you to scale. Right after that, we have the next session, which is rather the next phase, which is much more lighter touch. This is where we kind of release you, send you out into the world to do your thing, but we're still there with you, supporting you, doing a little bit of a touching base here and there, where you might need help in terms of business development, in terms of advice and coaching, and of course, helping you achieve your milestones. So that's an overview of what the program would like. As I said, I'm going to say again, it's quite intensive, but it's worth it, especially if you're new to the game or if you're unsure of yourself, if you're trying to build a network. This program has a lot to offer you. So we're going to sort of skip over these items, but again, I want you to take note that, again, it's being facilitated by us as Bongo Hive. We are an innovation hub, innovation and technology hub. This is the type of work that we do, but the people who are making this possible are, again, NISIA, the National Institute of Scientific and Industrial Research here in Zambia. They have the hub. It's a beautiful little space for startups, people like you. They have a number of drones, so you can actually touch the hardware, you can play around with it, you can upload your software into it, do whatever it is that you might be doing. So they've created that space for you to make things easier on your journey, and you'll get to see them during the bootcamp if you are selected. They're our partners. They have, of course, responsibilities towards innovation, towards driving sustainable research, and so on and so forth. But they are a great group of people, and we're very happy to be collaborating with them. And as mentioned earlier, this is a brainchild sort of the UNDP. And we have Timbuktoo hubs that are all over Africa. We just happen to be the one in Zambia. They are more or less overseeing the implementation. So they are kind of like Big Brother watching us to make certain everything goes well. And when things don't go well, we know now, can we make adjustments? Can we do things better? So this is like the first time, I think globally, this is the first time globally that such an initiative is being introduced. There's nothing similar to it. There's nobody spending $1 billion specifically, especially for Africa, but on the scale that we're looking at with the distribution, the number of hubs, the type of effort that it's taking, this is a first, right? And it's a Pan-African project. It takes a lot to make something like this happen, and UNDP have initiated it. So again, thank you to both NISIA and UNDP for stepping up to the plate. Now, for the last things that you might need to know, again, if you haven't applied yet, the deadline for the application is on the 13th of February, 2025, which is, I believe, next week, Thursday, somewhere there. So if you haven't applied yet, please do apply. We want to see your application. We're going to do our best to give you a fair shake and to read it, to go through. It takes a bit of time, but we're getting there. And otherwise, who should join? If we need to convince you, we want startup founders from Africa, right? From the African continent. You need to be based in Africa as well. If startups must be registered on the continent, doesn't matter where you are, if it's Guinea-Bissau, if it's Lesotho, if it's Cameroon, Morocco, that's all well and good. Ideally speaking, you must address a mining industry challenge. Now, what that means is it could be, it's quite broad. Like, so we gave you the specific like sectors that we're interested in, like drones and data visualization. But really, so long you're hitting something in the mining sector, you could very much be of value. You could be recruited into this program. So it could be that you run a logistics startup, right? And you're doing something special in logistics that's got to do with mining. Like, yeah, you qualify and you should consider. So generally speaking, what type of startups are we looking for? We're looking for pre-seed. So this could be that you are more or less at idea stage, somewhere in between idea stage and actually having a product that is already being used by the customers, by clients. So that normally means mining firms. If you are more developed than that, that's fine as well. You can apply. We don't discriminate, so don't be shy. It's like applying to a job. Just throw out as many CVs as possible and never give up. We're very much interested in startups led by women, persons of disabilities, PWDs, or other marginalized groups. Right? Everybody needs to get a fair shake, and this program supports that very much. So, as I said, we're not going to take much of your time with this. We're about 30 minutes into the session, and as it stands, we can open up the Q&A. So guys, thank you for being patient and listening to me waffle around. You can drop your questions in the chat. If I don't see them, Mulemba, my colleague, is also going to help you. Going to help us, going to help me, so that I don't miss anything. But please, if you have any questions, like now is your time. Don't be shy. Like we're here for you. We're trying to make this work. It's a new thing and it's confusing on many ways, but we are figuring it out. And this is going to be an initiative for the next 5 years, 10 years. That is the plan. So you have a chance to be one of the first. You have a chance to be a pioneer within the space, and we'd love to have you. So please, if you have any questions, go ahead. You can type them in the chat. See a comment by, oh, sorry, this is a powerful name, Ndeshi Hafela. Ndeshi Hafela. Oh, that's powerful. This is a great initiative. Super excited for this. Oh, yes, we are too. We're figuring it out, and we're really looking forward to just supporting the MineTech space in Africa.
Max, we have a question in the Q&A tab from Leonardo.
Yes.
So he said, like mine waste management requires specific equipment. Is the procurement of the equipment in the 25,000 grant, or will it be procured outside of the grant?
That's a hard question for me to answer. So it's like waste management, you have an idea. I don't know exactly what you're doing. But for instance, if you were to get into the top 5, that grant, it's for you to use, but we would help direct you. So we would sit down together, or you'd sit down together with an expert, somebody a mining expert, but also a business expert. And we will then, as a team, decide like, you will actually lead us and say like, okay, I need XYZ or let me say ABC to make this work, and it's going to take me to XYZ. So in that regard, that 25,000 could be used for example, in your case, for procurement of hardware. That is a possibility. But we'd first need to get there, and then we need to see how best. It's really the question of how best can you use the money. Where are you going to get the most value from it? So I would say it's on the table, but that would come towards the end of the program as opposed to earlier on.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Leonard. We have another question from Jasmine. Jasmine is asking, how should the product demonstration be like?
The product demonstration. Is this a reference to the application form itself? If so, then product demonstration, it's up to you. It's like it can be very simple. It could literally just be a picture. It could be a link to a short video. It could be a GIF or a GIF. I don't know how to pronounce that word. But just a simple way. Some people even do like product demonstrations. Okay, it's just an idea that you have in your head. You could do a drawing, right? You could take a piece of paper. Normally we call that paper prototyping or something like that. And then you could just say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. It's like, and you draw stick figures or whatever it might be, or you draw a flow chart to say that we get this information and we then move it over here. We address it in this way, we do conversions, and this information leads to a visualization process that then helps us understand this certain type of problem in a better way or an easier way. So there's a bunch of ways that you could address that. Be creative, don't be shy.
Someone on Facebook was asking if we have a WhatsApp group where they can ask questions.
As it stands now, we don't have a WhatsApp group, though that would only be created as the program initiates, if you are one of the participants. As it stands, it would be a bit too chaotic to have an opened WhatsApp group. But if you have a question, now's your chance. You can always just feel free to ask.
Okay, we have another question from Adam. Will you assist with acquiring technical skills during the tech development, i.e. software or system developers?
That's a good question. So my assumption is that you might have an idea. You're maybe a bit more of a CEO type or a COO type, right? You have an idea, you think that you can bring it to life, but you need help with structuring it, having the operations, and you might need software developers. So of course, that's something that can be arranged. It's always great if you already know somebody who could help you out, who could give you direction or who could give you a prototype. But that is something that, for instance, even we here at Bongo Hive, we have a specific tech team that might be able to help you with that, depending on the situation. So that is something where, if you get into the program, that is something that we can help assist you with. We can put you with one of our coaches, a tech-focused coach, to then take you through for instance, in your case, it might be a milestone plan to say like these are the technical requirements that our app would have, and let's start going through them one by one, which might also include sourcing the right people.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Adam. Another question is, are the project ideas acceptable? Then I'll add on another question that you could answer. To those that have already submitted the applications, will we get responses or after the 15th for eligibility?
I've already forgotten the first question.
The first question is whether project ideas are acceptable, and then the second one is if responses on submitted applications will be given only after the 13th.
Okay, so project ideas, yes, you can. So that's opened. That's the way that we've structured it. So again, don't be shy, even if it's an idea. Just try to apply. It means that you might be at a bit of a disadvantage, right? Because investors like ideas that have a bit of traction, that have a bit of development. But if you take the time to represent your idea in a thoughtful way, there is still opportunity for you. So please do apply if you haven't yet. And the second question on the application, like when are you guys going to get feedback? I think it should be in about 2.5 to 3 weeks, because the applications close on the 13th, like we had mentioned, and we will need 1 to 2 weeks just to close out and to make certain that everything is done right. And also internally, there are certain, since it's being sponsored by UNDP, there's a certain transparency and certain checks and balances that need to be met. So you'll have to sit tight and be patient with us for a little bit before you get your answers.
Okay, there's another question from David. For a young company which is not yet registered because of financial challenges like ours from DRC, what will happen for them? Is the Timbuktoo Hub, will the Timbuktoo Hub guide and support in order to get this registration done? because in DRC, the youth still have many challenges. So someone is asking.
If DRC is not the easiest place. I hear you. It's a challenge. Again, it depends. It depends. We'd have to look at your idea, your application. How far have you gone? We like to work with registered businesses just because it shows seriousness from an entrepreneur. It's like you've taken the first steps to legitimize yourself as you're building out your idea. But we wouldn't necessarily shoot down somebody like yourself. So then it depends on how good is your idea, how are you structuring yourself. Can we help you do stuff like registering a business and whatnot? Of course, that might be there in the future. But also please be aware that this is a competitive process, right? So it's not just you from the DRC, we're also competing with people from Tanzania, right, from other places in the DRC, from Zimbabwe, from Uganda and whatnot. But I think does the possibility exist? I would say so. I see there's a lot of questions in the chat.
So somebody is asking if they're allowed to participate with their partner. And then someone is also asking whether the 10 startups that have been selected are per country or across Africa.
It's this is a small project, so it's across Africa. It's let me say it's a smaller program. So 10 startups across Africa, and the core of the program really is to give you that customized support. Right, there's quite a bit of handholding that can be involved, and this is it's a complex thing. You're not only building a product or a service. We're really trying to get you to build businesses. And so for the time being, it's only the 10 startups. Remember, this is also the first iteration of this program, and we intend to have many more. There was another question with the partner. Can you attend with your partner? Yes and no. So if you're selected for the bootcamp, you would have to choose one person to represent your company to come to Zambia, and we have the physical in-person sessions together. But beyond that, for the incubation and whatnot, you can, for instance, if you're the founder, you can select whoever you think on your team needs to be within in the sessions with you. So you may attend, your partner may attend, like let's say like if your partner is the finance person, then of course, like let's have you and your CFO, your Chief Financial Officer, join in so that you can learn together. So that option is open. It's just for the bootcamp where it would have to be one person representing you.
Okay, and then there's another question. Someone is asking whether for applications that are not successful, if reasons for that negative outcome will be given to them for learning purposes.
That one it's a fair question. I'll answer it honestly. It's difficult for us to do that. Some applications are just like, with respect, they're nonsense, right? There's too much stuff missing. There's zero effort that has been put into it. Those ones are not worth replying to. We may try, I can't promise this, but we may try that if you end up in the top selection, but you don't go through to the top 10, let's say like if you're in the top 20, in the top 25, then we may actually try to reach out to you and say, listen, you didn't make it this time, but you were in the top 25. These are our reasons why we didn't select you. Sometimes, mind you, the reason is just competitiveness. It might be that your idea is actually quite good. We just think that there was somebody who was a little bit more competitive than you. But that is the way that I'm envisioning that situation. If you don't get a reply, don't take it personally. There's a lot of people that have applied. We get hundreds of applications for this sort of program.
There's a question from Felipe. So he says, the Felipe from Congo DRC, I'm supplying mining to small mining companies and to the artisanal sector in order to grow their production of minerals. So I'd like to know if I can be supported by this program.
Okay. I think you left out one thing, because I also see it here. I'm supplying mining to small mining companies. So I'm guessing that you're supplying, I'm just going to take a guess, and that you are supplying tools or equipment to small mining companies and artisans. which is a fine business, especially in the DRC. I can see how that has potential. Now, the challenge with that is what we are looking for ideally are tech-based businesses. So either your business is completely tech-based or it is technology-enabled. So if you're saying, so for instance, just to use you as an example, Felipe, if I may, just the way I've seen it written, I would say that this program isn't for you. However, if you say that, oh, by the way, I have a website and I sell this equipment through my website, then that makes you tech-enabled, and all of a sudden there may be a spot, there may be a spot for you. It's something we could consider. But the technology part of the program has to be, it's a component that has to be there, that has to be included in your business. I see another question by Romeo Tembo. Thank you for the opportunity. You're welcome, Romeo. Thank you for your time. I joined a bit late, so maybe I've missed what I'm about to ask. How long is the entire program from the beginning to when the grant is given? And is the 25,000 US dollars grant for the top 5, or will the amount depend on the idea? So the program, essentially, in totality for you, it's less than 6 months. It would be, what are we looking at? Essentially April, May, June, July, 4 months of a program plus another 3 months of monitoring. So 7 months, but it's not really 7 months. So in terms of the actual intensity of the program, you're dedicating about 4 months to it. And the 25,000, yes, that would be for the top 5, which would be given towards the end of the program. So we're talking about somewhere in July, I think mid of July. And the amount will be, it's 25,000 throughout. It won't depend on the idea. So for instance, if you really feel that your idea needs $200,000 to start off, then that is, that won't do much for you, just as an example.
Max, we also have some questions from Facebook. So Stephen is asking, if one submitted a form and then realized that they may have left out something, is there a way to edit after submission, considering that no confirmation email was received?
That's a good question. We have to see if the settings are open for that, because sometimes what happens is that you can just go to the same link and edit your submission. So we may have to take note of that. Maybe Mulemo, if you can write that down for me. So my suggestion for you would be tomorrow morning, try to use the same link to get to the survey that you had to enter the application form. And ideally speaking, you should be able to re-edit your submission. So we'll try open that for you.
Thanks, Max. There's another question from Facebook regarding the application form. So Cedric is asking, there's some parts on the application form that are marked optional but have the star that makes them required, and this was hindering him when applying.
Okay, we can take a look at that and try to make the correction on the back end by the admin side. But you can also feel free to apply. So for instance, as an example, I missed where you're from, but just to give you an example, if you're Zambian, right, we have on the form a yellow fever card or yellow fever vaccination. That wouldn't actually apply to you because you're already in the country. Like nobody's going to ask you if you have been vaccinated for yellow fever. So that is something that also, like as we're reviewing your application, we will take into consideration, but it shouldn't get in a way. You could also just upload something that reflects, the situation, and of course we will understand.
Okay, another question from Facebook. So Joshua is asking if you could try to explain the practical expected products in either innovations or technology and current product innovations on the market. This is crucial to broaden innovators' perspective on MineTech. The comment. Did you hear that, Max?
Yeah, could you repeat it for me?
Try to explain the practical expected products in either innovations or technology and current product or innovations on the market. This is crucial to broaden the innovators' perspectives on MineTech.
I'm trying to see how I can approach that. It sounds like a statement, not a question. But well, if you need clarity on what's available, I would say, well, first of all, you have to also do your own research, do your own background checking, and see what are the possibilities out there and where you can slot in. But we're, as mentioned earlier, we're looking at things like drone technology. So why drone technology? Because it is something that is, to an extent, low cost, but can have a very big effect. So because the drone, right, flies around, I can't see my hand, it flies around, it has a camera attached to it. There are certain things that then you can do with regards to visualization and with regards to mapping, like geo mapping, that, you know, it could be anything. It could be that you're mapping the ground for, there might be a way to see where you can find water, where you can find mineral resources. There might be certain things, certain other things that you need to look out for. So it's really like similar to how you use a satellite to get a picture of the geography and then determine certain things. Like there's technology out there that is like that, or there's technology like that that you can build that then has to do with drone technology. Stuff like data visualization, it might be, what example can I give? It might be stuff like runoffs. So when mines tend to get filled with water and water needs to get pumped out, especially if they're deep shaft mines. So you could say, or even open pit mines, like there's leaching in open pit mines, right? Where you have different chemicals that are going into the water, and yet the water also has to be used to clean certain parts, certain the minerals within the mining process. So you might say, okay, we get data from these large mines, and we can help you track your runoff. We can help you track how much waste you're putting out within said water that is going into the environment. It could also be something like there's a, what's the word again? I've forgotten the word, tailings, so that there's a certain amount of mineral that is lost as you're cleaning, as you're cleaning the rock. And we can help you calculate what you're actually losing so that you know, should you be trying to recycle it or make it a bit more circular, like make your industrial process more circular. And then you can take that data, you can take that information and visualize it in easier ways. So those are examples, but really it's up to you to see where the market gaps are or where the technology gaps are and how you can help. So it's all about identifying problems and then trying to find solutions. So there's so much that you can do because mining is so wide, and it also has so many support industries that feed into it, such as logistics, for example. Right, mines have their own vehicles, and because they have their own vehicles, they also need their own logistics solutions that are based on technology, on data. So maybe there's something you can do there. So that's just me waffling and trying to give you examples, but it's a really broad industry that you might be able to have an impact on.
Okay, thank you, Max, for your comprehensive answer. There's a question from Mukuka. So Mukuka is asking if you could clarify on the disbursement schedule for the funds. Would they be released all at once or in phased installments? And additionally, what are the guidelines and controls in place to govern the disbursement process?
Okay. So if you're one of the top 5 that gets selected and you get your grant, essentially what is going to happen is by the end of the bootcamp, we are going to force you to write a milestone plan. So this is an informed milestone plan, and we will help you write it. And when you go into the incubation phase, we're going to start working on that plan, and it is going to exceed the length of the actual program. So what happens, I answered it before, but I'll answer it again. The grant essentially will be given to you at the end of the program. Now, how that money is dispersed depends on the plan, the milestone plan that we've built up together. So the $25,000 might be released in, let's say, trenches of what's 25? What number can I use? Let's say it's tranches of 5,000 US dollars. So 5 times. So let's say that you have certain goals that you want to hit every 3 weeks. And every 3 weeks, you then need to come essentially write a short report to us and say that over the past 3 weeks, we have created this dashboard. You can measure X, Y, Z, and you can have these graphs that show you whatever it might be. By the way, this is our first deliverable, right? And then we confirm that, we sit down with you, oh, this looks great, and then the money can be distributed to you, that first $5,000. And you know, it goes on, so on and so forth, until the full amount has been given to you. But the idea is to sort of motivate you and to hold you to your own word, to say that I want to do this, I want to achieve this. I have put my own milestone plan, my strategic plan in, and every bit of it has cash attached to it. So that's sort of what the disbursement process looks like.
Okay, there's a question. Someone is saying that they submitted their application but got a response saying that their documents were not viewed by the assessors and that they needed to be granted access. So this person is asking how they resend these documents without redoing the whole application process.
So it depends on how you uploaded them. If you just uploaded them, then it should be fine. If it's, for instance, a link that goes to your drive, whether it's a Google Drive or a Microsoft Drive, you will have to give you'll have to change the sharing permissions. So normally there's a button on the top right-hand corner that says share. You'd have to click that, and you'd have to share it. We'd have to change the permissions, which means that instead of it being for just you, like you're the only person who can view, you'd have to change it to anybody with the link can view. So that is most likely what is being referred to. If that has been done, then if you've already done it, then that should be okay. The team should be able to view your submission, and it shouldn't be too much of a worry. This should be Mwene. Hope that answers your question.
We also have somebody who had their hand raised. Daniel, please go ahead. If you're ready with your question, please go ahead and speak.
Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yes, Daniel, we can hear you.
Please, I wanted to confirm because I actually joined late, very much late. Those on this Zoom, are they the ones selected? And if not, those that will be selected for this program, when would they be notified for their selection that they actually picked for the program? And also, when would the program comment itself, as in the particular date precisely? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us either way. Even if it's late, I can give you a quick answer. So we are part, some of us are part of the selection team, but this is just a part of them. We also have people from other institutions that are involved. As you can see, it's not just us. We are Bongo Hive. We are an innovation and technology hub, but we have colleagues from government, from NISIA, which is our National Institute for Scientific and Industrial Research, and the UNDP. So those are the organizations that are going to be assessing the applications. As it stands, it's going to take, I was telling everybody, it's going to take probably another 2.5 to 3 weeks to fully look through the applications, because they're quite detailed and we want to try to give everybody a fair shake. Beyond that, how long? I think you asked how long is the program as well. The program, in terms of the time commitment from your side, is roughly about 4 months for the more intense part of the program. So we're looking at the end of March to the end of July. And that is the more intense part. And there's another 2 to 3 months of kind of like monitoring, where it's more light touch and you get to do your thing. So hope that answers your questions.
Okay. And he also asked something around if the people that are selected are the ones on Zoom. The answer is no. The people that signed up for the info session are the ones that are on Zoom, to answer your question. We have another hand that's raised from Lewo Han. So Lewo Han, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm also glad that somebody was asking the question that I just, about to ask. So my other question is, like now I heard that you said, since that there's going to be a selection after this session. There was a problem with my application. I was told to send certain documents by Mr. Let me check. Mr. Maximilia Musumali. If I'm sorry if I said the word wrongly. But my question is it possible that like he was telling me that they need to review my business profile, then I had to send it via his email. And now it's like some things are not, it seems like there's something wrong with that. So I want to know, is it possible that I can like reapply again, or to get the information, to get the PDF back and to submit the correct one? Because I did submitted the right business profile on his email, because they told me that there was a missing document. So my question is it possible is it going to be reviewed because I sent it to his inbox, to his email, or should I wait? And also, is it possible to be given the link of this program? Like I had people saying they're watching it on Facebook to get it. And also, again, is it possible for the team of Timbuktoo to open WhatsApp group? Because I think we are missing a lot of information. But if we can be given the updates every day, it can work. Thank you. I'm having flu, so my voice is somehow, Thank you.
No problem, sir. We're all human. Thank you for your questions. So I think the most important one for you is they will receive access to everything that we need access to. And I'd answered that to some degree before. So I believe that you actually sent me some items. So I should have it in my inbox. One of my colleagues should also have it in your inbox. So I don't think in the inbox. So I don't think that is much of a problem. We will also try to change the permissions so that you can go into the same link, the same application link that you see in front of you. This is the one that you actually use to apply. And you should be able to, we'll try to do it this evening so that by tomorrow morning, you can re-edit if you want to change some items. We'll give you that sort of grace period. That's not an issue. But I believe we have all of your stuff in Lebohano, so that shouldn't be much of a challenge. There was another question, the question of the WhatsApp group. Unfortunately, as it stands, we can't do a WhatsApp group. There are just too many people that are involved, and also giving daily updates on this. It's really not necessary. There is an internal process that has to go through, and internally it has to be transparent. We have to be held accountable to government and to UNDP and Timbuktoo alike. But to start involving other people with it, that's just from a program management point of view, that's just not possible to do. But I appreciate the situation that you're in. You want to know what's going on. You want to be updated. You're excited to try to move forward with this. But that's where we are. And I think there was a third question that I may have not answered.
Yes, about Facebook. Can we be given the link so that we can, some people are struggling to log in here on Zoom. So they're saying that they received the email that the problem is logging here. So I think Facebook, because I see there are people who are commenting on Facebook, but we don't have the link. Maybe if we can be given here where we can share with them.
I don't know if it's going to help because we're also at the end of the session, but otherwise because we're talking about the link to the actual call, isn't that right?
Yes, you're right, sir.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Okay, no, and at this point, it's a bit late for that. So sorry, people at Facebook, if you're trying to log in and be with us on Zoom. But my colleagues were trying to look out for any sort of questions that were coming in from the other streams. So hopefully you've been taken care of, you've been addressed. But my apologies if it didn't work out.
Max, we have one more question. So this is coming from Michael. He's asking if passports and yellow card documentations are necessary if you are based in Zambia.
Okay. Fair question, Michael. No, you don't need to worry about that. If, for instance, the application form is giving you problems, then you can just upload whatever just to cover it. But we'll see that, oh, this person is actually in Zambia, and you don't need to worry about yellow card and passport. That is for our other friends from different places in Africa, because not all African countries can get passports, can get visa on arrival. So we're just trying to do our kind of due diligence that if you are selected, we already have your details and we can make certain to bring you into the country more easily. Yep, that's it. So everybody.
Sorry, there was a question from Silvere. He asked some questions that may have already been covered during the session. So I'll ask that in the interest of time, you could just rewatch the live on Facebook. So go to Bongo Hive and watch the live. And the answers to your questions will be addressed from there. Over to you, Max.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for your support as always, Mulemwa. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. It's appreciated. I know that what's the right English for this? My English is leaving me. There's a lot, like there's a lot of moving parts to this, right? And there's a lot of interest, a lot of questions that you may have, and that's fine. Like some of you or many of you already have our email addresses because we did try to share it with those people who have already applied. So as you're moving forward, you can reach out to us if you have specific questions that you feel have not been answered or that are very important to you. But definitely we'll look out for your applications and we'll do our best to assess them fairly. This is a competitive process, but we're really looking forward to getting the cream of the crop, the best ideas, the best businesses and supporting them. And if not this year, for instance, if you're not selected this year, there is going to be a second cohort next year. And mind you, if you are that type of entrepreneur, who knows? Like there are a lot of, like there are 9 other or 8 other programs. You know, if you have that entrepreneurial fire inside of you, there's always opportunity out there within the Timbuktoo initiative. So I see that, like, for instance, there's one person, there's 1 or 2 more questions that are being thrown out, but unfortunately we don't have time and we do need to close the session as it stands. So again, thank you very much for attending and I wish you all the best of luck. Have a great afternoon.